In the moment, you could be doing laundry, right? I could be fucking doing demons, man.
So what am I to you?
You are my very best friend in the whole wide world, the nicest person I know on the planet. How'd I do?
That's nice.
Okay. So, but you're not my publicist, because I don't need a publicist. I don't need a producer. I don't need a publicist. I don't need someone to drive my car. I don't need someone to do my laundry. There's this whole list of shit that I just don't need, so you're none of those. Yeah? So, what are we talking about this week?
Can we do an intro with more stuff in it?
What do you mean more stuff?
Welcome to this podcast. This is where we talk about blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for showing up. This is where we talk about blah, blah, blah. Hope you enjoy. No, that's not what you wanted? Okay, so welcome to Time the Podcast. This is where we talk about what really goes on inside of New York State prisons and how it affects people and how people come out more damaged than they ever were when they went in. So I'm Boss, and I'm here with my co-producer, co-host, Paula Parrish. Say hello, Paula.
Hi. You forgot to say that you just got out of prison recently after 41 years.
That's the thing I'm trying to forget, right? So, what are we talking about this week? What do you got on your mind?
I'm going to finally let you choose.
You're going to let me choose?
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. He's going to let me choose. No intro, no heads up or anything. Okay, so I guess we're going to talk about programming then.
I know you'd say that.
Yeah, if you're letting me choose. I've been wanting to talk about programs,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk about corrections counselors, what they are, what they do, how they affect you, and the power that they have over you, because they kind of go with the parole board. They kind of go hand in hand, you know? I mean, they're the first, I guess they're the people's first line of defense is the way to put it, I guess. You know, that's how they see it, you know? So let's talk about that. What do you think?
I like it. You guys called jobs programs before, so everyone has to be working, right, on the inside? Everyone has to have that sort of program?
Everyone has to have a program. You can't be idle unless you're medically unassigned. But everyone has to have a program, and it's never called a job. It's always called a program because for two reasons. First and foremost is they have a program DEP in every facility, and that DEP is in charge of all the programs.
Deputy, right?
Right,
you
deputy,
mean?
yeah. So it's always a
Figured that one out on my own.
Yeah, you did good. It's great. So you really are a bottle blonde. Okay, so yeah. So there's a deputy of programs of every facility, and this person's job is to make sure that everyone has a program and that programs are available. And if you need a alcohol drug counseling program, she makes sure that there is an alcohol drug program available, and there's a person in charge of teaching that, you know, facilitating that. So everyone has to have a program. They don't call it jobs because if they called it a job, they'd have to pay you a paycheck. And if they paid you a paycheck, they'd have to take out taxes. And if they had to take out taxes, state tax, what's the one thing they cannot do to you if they take a tax?
Take away your vote.
Yes.
I was like, shit.
Yes.
Is the fucking teacher gonna call on me again? And
Yes.
then I pulled through.
I always call on you.
Pulled through. I hate
You
when
did
you
it.
call on me.
I know, that's why I do it.
God damn it.
But you know the answers.
I never know the answers.
You knew it this
I
time.
always get it wrong.
You got it right this time.
Okay.
So taxation without representation. So
Okay.
they do not pay convicts a wage because they would have to withhold a tax, right? And if they withheld a tax, then they would have to restore your right to vote. Then you'd have a voice. But the fact that you don't vote, you don't have a voice. No politician's worried about you because you can't fucking vote anyway. But if you could...
That would be a lot of fucking votes.
Exactly. Yeah, because you would vote as a block.
Curious. Yeah, because you become a block.
That's a big block, you know, to vote yay, nay, for
It
one
is.
person or not. So in 1977, Governor Rockefeller split the Department of Corrections and the Division of Parole, made them two separate entities. Prior to that, they were like they are today. They worked together as one. So Como put them back together a few years ago. But Rockefeller split them, and when he did, he also came up with the new pay system. So if you were to look at when the last time that convicts got a cost of living increase, as an example, it was 1977.
Holy shit.
Right. So today, average convict makes 15 cents a day. 5 days a week, you don't get paid for 7. So 15 cents a day times 5 you go to commissary every 2 weeks. So say you drink coffee. Coffee's $3 a can. Say you need soap to wash. Soap's 50 cents a bar. It's not too bad. But still, it's almost 2 days' pay. You see what I'm getting at? So you've already spent your money. You're finished already.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive to work, right? So they just make...
So otherwise, though, they will give you some other soap, presumably? Like they don't...
Yeah, they make the soap at Gladiator School. There's a soap factory at Gladiator School. That's the industry at Gladiator School. Is they make the metal chairs, the soap, and the bleach. They make all the detergents, all the cleaning materials, all the liquids they make, and powders they make right there at Gladiator School. So yeah, if you can't afford soap, then there is some low grade soap available. It's actually Dial soap. It comes from the Dial Soap Company, and they just mix it with some water and some zinc and punch it into bars that say Craft. So it's just low grade Dial soap. It's terrible for your skin, but yeah, so you can get that, right. They give you toothpaste, they'll give you a toothbrush, no deodorant. They don't give you any kind of deodorant. They don't give you any kind of laundry detergent. They just give you those 3 things: toothbrush, toothpaste, soap. That's what you get.
Do a lot of people just wash their clothes without detergent?
Everybody washes it with state soap because it'll clean them, and it's state clothes, so who gives a shit, right?
A bar of soap?
It's a bar of soap, yeah. So what you'll do is you'll put it in a sock, and then you'll set it on the ground or something, and you'll beat it with like a padlock. Your padlock, you just beat it into a powder, and then use that powder to wash your clothes. Yeah. Usually what you'll do is you'll wash your toilet, and then you'll flush your toilet a few times when it's clean, and then you'll put your clothes in the toilet with the clean water, put the soap in there, and wash your clothes in the toilet, pull your clothes back up to you so you don't flush them down the toilet, flush the toilet and rinse them, pull your clothes back again, flush it, and that's how you get your rinse cycle. And then when you get all the soap out, then you pull your clothes out, wring them out, hang them up, and bingo, your laundry's done. So you do your laundry in your toilet.
You get to use machines though, right?
No.
What?
Not in the Maxes. There's no machines in the Maxes. I mean, you can send your clothes to the laundry twice a week in the Max. But here's what they do. They give you a net bag, and your clothes go inside this net bag, and it gets tied closed. And your clothes go into this big 300-pound capacity machine with everyone else's, so that they come out brown. Your clothes can't get clean because the guys, they just pack it so tight. The laundry can't move around in there, So when reality, they should put, say, 25 bags in. They're going to put 75 bags in. So the clothes can't move around in there, so they're just in the dirty water. When you get them back, they're brown. Your whites are brown, everything's brown. You can rinse them in your toilet and dirty water comes out. So
that's disgusting.
Yeah, so most people do not use the laundry. Some guys just don't give a shit and use it anyway. But
if most people don't use the laundry, then there must be fewer bags in those loads then.
No. But think about it.
They just do fewer loads.
Yeah, exactly. So they're still going to pack it full. It just means they get done sooner so they can do their hustle sooner. Because every laundryman has a hustle. So the sooner he can get that machine freed up, the sooner he can do his laundry contracts. Now his laundry contracts, he's only going to put 10 or 12 bags in this machine. And they're going to come out super clean. Because that's what the machine's supposed to do. So he'll put those in there and do his laundry contracts.
So you always did your own laundry?
I always did my own whites, my own underclothes, and my state clothing. I always had a laundry contract with one of those guys who were just putting a few bags in at a time. So I always had a laundry contract.
And you just paid him?
Yeah.
And the whites and stuff you did on your own, in your toilet, right?
In the toilet, yeah, with the state soap.
Okay, I want to know everything that you used your toilet for.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Okay, if there was a frisk coming and you knew there was a facility-wide shakedown coming, I would use it for a locker. I'd use it to hide stuff.
How?
Well, you take a cup and you dip the water out of it. Every toilet has a built-in trap and a splash plate that breaks up the feces or the toilet paper, whatever it is, so it'll run down the pipe, right? So if you put a hot dog in a toilet and flush it, it doesn't come out the other end of hot dog. It comes out kind of chewed up because there's a splash plate at the end of this tunnel that it goes through that breaks it up. So what you would do is you would dip the water out of the toilet, and then you could put your, let's say you
with
had
what?
With a cup.
Okay.
Your drinking cup. So let's say you had a shank, or maybe you had a cassette player that was contraband. Maybe you had an AM/FM cassette recorder like I had. Super contraband. You do not want to get caught with that. But they're doing a facility-wide frisk. They're going in every single cell and they're going to tear up everybody's property. There's nothing that's not going to get checked. So you dip all the water out of the toilet and put your thing, whatever it is, that'll fit through the toilet. It's not really a big hole, so it's only like a 4-inch hole, but a little cassette player will fit in there. You put it in a plastic bag, tie it up, and you will reach in underneath and put that cassette player on the splash plate. And then you will turn your sink on with your cup and fill your toilet back up.
Wow.
Just don't flush it. If you flush it, it's gone.
And they don't come in and just flush the toilet?
Sometimes the cops come in and they know to flush the toilet. Some cops just automatically flush your toilet first off, and that's it. Anything you had already, it's gone. It's a chance you take. It's still better than getting caught with it.
Can they hear when they flush a toilet and there's some cassette player grinding up in the back of the pipe?
No, they can't hear it because it's not going to hit the splash plate. It's already sitting on the splash plate. So the water's just going to wash it off the plate and down the pipe.
Okay.
So as the plumber, I've had to go after every facility frisk. I have to go into the main lines and pull out cassette players and shanks and just all kinds of stuff that have it plugged up. So
oh my God.
Yeah, it just happens,
Okay, what else?
Okay, so you use it to hide. So a locker. You use it to do your laundry, as we talked about. And it's your refrigerator. You use it for a refrigerator. So you put your food in a watertight container of some kind, and you tie it in a bag, and you sink it in your toilet because water's airtight, right? If air can't get to your food can't spoil. If air can't get to it, it cannot spoil. So underwater, there's no air getting to it. Water is also, of course, always cooler than the ambient air around it. So you always have cool food. You can put your cheese in there, your meat in there, and it'll stay for a week.
So then every time you take out the food, every time you have to go to the bathroom, you just take it out.
Yeah, you take it out.
Use the toilet, flush it, clean it, and then put it back in?
Put it back, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah, exactly. And we all made, you don't have toilet seats. First of all, they're just toilets, no seats.
Are they metal or ceramic?
Some are stainless steel, some are ceramic.
Okay.
Some are porcelain, some are stainless steel. So it's just the luck of the draw which one you get, But
which one is luckier?
The ceramic is definitely better. Stainless steel just gets as cold as the water is outside. It's snowing outside. You know how cold the water gets in the wintertime? Believe me, it's like sitting on an ice cube. It will freeze your ass.
Okay, so what else?
You could boil water in it and cook.
How?
Well, you would make homemade stingers.
What's that?
So you would take 2 pieces of metal. Say you take a fingernail clipper as an example. You take a fingernail clipper apart and snap it. Where the 2 pieces come together, you snap it so you have 2 equal pieces, one in the right, one in the left. And then you would take a popsicle stick, which you could get in commissary, or a stick you find in the yard. You take a stick and you put that between those. And you wrap dental floss around them so that they can't touch. And then you take an electrical cord, like an extension cord, and you cut the end of it off, the female end off. And you hook one wire to each one of those fingernail clipper sides so that they can't touch. Obviously, if they touch, it's a short. You plug it in, drop it in the water. Drop it in the water makes the connection, and it's an automatic stinger. We call it a stinger, but it's actually a heating element. It turns into a heating element, just like the one you have in a hot water heater, and it starts boiling the water. So it starts heating the water. 15, 20 minutes later, the water's boiling, and you cook. You just have to be careful not to put your hand in the water.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, because you will get the shit shocked out of you. Yeah, so you have to be careful not to put your hand in the water. You got to be smart, on point, So I was always high as fuck, so I always had the discipline to unplug it. I would bring it to a boil in a pot or in a bucket or in the toilet, depending on what I was cooking. I'd bring it to a boil, and before I ever stirred it, whatever I was doing, I would unplug it, and then do what I had to do, and then plug it back in.
Because you knew you were too high to focus.
Yeah, stainless steel toilets, you really can't. You can't cook in them like that. You can't because they're stainless steel. They're direct shot, to the wall. They're gonna blow your fuse. So.
Were you ever able to communicate with other people through the pipes?
Yeah, in the box and stuff like that, you do that, right? But in the normal scheme of things, it's not necessary because you just call down the company, or send a line, go fishing, But yeah, but if you're in the box or something where you can't get to someone, and let's say you're in the box, let's say you had a fight in the yard, and maybe some weapons were involved or something like that, right? So what you want to do is you want to get to the guy that you had a fight with and make sure that your stories are straight. So the fight goes away for the minute. It's time to parlay. It's time to figure out what happened, what we're going to tell them happened. So sometimes like that, you'll talk to the pipes. You'll take all the water out of the toilet. This way, the sewer line becomes the PA system. So you dip all the water out of the toilet, and then you talk through the toilet. A lot of guys will take a towel and lay it over the back of their head and over the toilet so that they don't have to talk really loud. You know, you can talk in a normal tone of voice, and it'll carry depending on how far the guy is, you know.
How do you know where your toilet is going to connect to? Where the pipes are going to connect to?
All the toilets are connected together. So there's a pipe that runs, there's a 6-inch main that runs along the whole back of every cell. Every toilet comes out of the cell and taps in. So the whole system is tied together. So if you dip the water out of your toilet, that's the only trap stopping you from getting to the rest of the cell. So if two guys dip the water out, they can talk to each other.
So you just have to hope that somebody is on the other side somewhere that has also dipped the water out, and that you can communicate with that person and they can help you find where the person you fought with is.
Yeah. Well, the porter usually, the porters will come by and they do the feed up. They're going to feed you, so you're not leaving your cell. You're keep locked. So, like in Auburn, for instance, when you get keep locked, they give you 3 bowls and they give you a cup. And feed up comes by with stainless steel buckets that have the food in it. You set your bowl up, they fill it up. Set your bowl up, they fill it up. Set your bowl up, they fill it up. Whatever the three things are for that meal, you know. And then they pour juice into your cup and off they go. So you'll either send a message through the feed up. You know, you say, hey, tell so-and-so that I'm in so-and-so and I'm dipping. Okay, so he knows, you know, I want to talk to him. Let's figure this shit out. And you always do that. You need to figure out, because when you get there, you need to have the same story. The story needs to be, it was over some dumb shit. It's all done. I'm sorry. Even if it's not. What was that? Poltergeist. So.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah.
So that has to be the story, you know, because you're going in front of some civilian, or you're going in front of some lieutenant or a captain, you know, depending on how serious this situation is, you know. And so your stories need to be, you need to be able to tell a story that's going to let this person let you out.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a communication system. It's a laundry machine. It's you can cook in it. You can use it for a refrigerator, and you can use it for a bathroom. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, back to programming. I'm sorry.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? So you go in, you get a corrections counselor. Now, let's say you're in a facility the size of, let's use Gladiator School, because we just talked about that facility. So population in Gladiator School, which is Comstock, Great Meadow Correctional Facility, is 1,500. So let's say you're in Great Meadow Correctional Facility and there's 1,500 population. There are probably 20 counselors for 1,500 individuals.
Wow.
And you see them 4 times a year. That's it. You see your counselor 4 times a year. And this person has the power to determine what programs you need based on what they think you need. They have the power to determine when you'll be transferred, or if you'll be transferred closer to your family if you have a family. You may be 8-hour drive away from your family. These people have the power to not move you closer to your family, right? Or to say, all right, let's transfer you closer to your family, right? Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so you see these guys 4 times a year, and they decide all of this stuff. They have all this power. Okay, when you get sentenced, they do what's called a pre-sentence report. Let's say, now you don't know, you're naive. Let's say you've never been in trouble before. This is your first time being in trouble. So you don't know, right? What to say, what not to say, right?
Right.
So you do your pre-sentence report, and the person doing your pre-sentence report is a nice person. You know, you're in county jail, you're stressed the fuck out, you're all fucked up, and you get this person that sits down and for the first time since you've been in county jail is going to talk to you like a human being. Well, you know, I have to do this pre-sentence report. I work for the Division of Probation. I have nothing to do with the jail. We just do these reports. Mm-hmm. It's going to help the judge decide which sentence to give you. So you need to be as straightforward with me as possible so that my report reflects who you are. Guy just sold you a line of shit, but you don't know that. You think, okay, good. Yeah, this makes sense. You know, okay. So he says, okay, do you smoke? Yeah. Okay. Do you drink? I used to drink a little. Okay. Have you ever smoked marijuana, used any drugs? I smoked marijuana a couple times, but I really don't smoke it. Okay. He writes that all down, right? Okay. When you get to prison and your corrections counselor sees that you said, he doesn't see that, yes, I smoked a couple of times, but I really don't smoke. He just sees, or she just sees a little box that has a check in it. Drug use. sees the box, has a little check in it. Alcohol. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, based on those 2 boxes that just got checked because you trusted this guy or girl, you need alcohol and drug classes. You need 6 months of a drug program. You need 6 months of an alcohol program. So you're going to take these programs, right? In reality, you probably don't need these programs. And the reason you don't need these programs is because these programs only exist on paper.
That's what I was wondering. How effective are these programs? Because you obviously had to take those programs. You were also a heroin addict at the time, probably, right?
Right.
So they're not effective, are they?
No, they're not effective because you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves, right? I mean, let's look at that first. If there's no incentive for you to change, you're not going to change. So if they say to you, all right, you have to take alcohol and drug program, and you say, wait a second, I don't want to take this bullshit program. I want to go to school, right? Or I want to go work in the mess hall because I don't have any money, but mess hall pays the most money. So I don't want to take your bullshit drug program. I want to work in the mess hall so that I can buy soap and cigarettes and, and live, right?
Yeah.
Nope. You got to take this program. It's mandatory that you take this program. So fuck it. You ain't getting out of it. It's a residential program. You have to live in the dorm with all of the other motherfuckers who do not want to take this program. So you're in a dorm with 80 guys or in a classroom with 60 guys, depending on if you're in the max or if you're in the medium, who do not want to take this fucking program. Nobody wants to be here, right? You got all of these counselors who are in charge of teaching these programs who don't. Who do you think teaches the programs?
Inmates.
So you got an inmate who graduated the program who was offered the job to be a facilitator. As a facilitator, he's running the groups. The person who's supposed to be in charge is sitting in the office drinking coffee, playing solitaire on his or her fucking computer, and checking the work that the facilitator does at the end of the week to make sure everybody's filling out the papers and signing their names and doing what they're supposed to do, right? Everybody's on the attendance, signing the attendance sheet. That's it. There's no therapeutic shit going on at all in the classroom because, one, nobody wants to fucking be there. You can't force a person to talk about something they don't want to talk about. And two, the guys teaching the programs don't care if you do either because they're just convicts too. They only took the job because it's a grade 4 pay. They graduated the program, were offered the job. It's 45 cents a day, which is way more than everybody else is making because it's a grade 4 pay. So they take the job for that reason.
I feel like you're making such a big generalization though, because
I'm going to say
not
this.
everyone's on their computer playing solitaire.
Now we're talking about drug and alcohol programs right now, so let's keep it right there. Mm-hmm. We can get to the other programs. There are GED teachers, art teachers, and things like that who do give a shit, who do care. Who will kick you out of your class if you're disturbing her class or his class and you're not making progress. They will throw you the fuck out so that the rest of the people can. Okay, so those people are on their class. They're in their classroom teaching their class. They're at the blackboard. Those people are actually teaching, but we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about alcohol and drug classes.
Why don't they have the same drive that someone who's teaching the GED class has?
Because every swinging dick in the program does not want to be in the program. If you don't want to do something, you ain't going to fucking do it. You got to show up. That's the only thing you can make me do. I'll show up. Otherwise, I'm keep locked.
So it's a miserable environment.
It's miserable. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody gives a shit. And that's the point, right? But here's the deal. If they said to you, you know what? You had a drinking problem on the street, whether it was big or small, you had a problem. You got 5 years to do. But you know what? If you can get a GED, graduate this program, maybe take on a program that teaches you a trade, you can be out in 3. Would you like to earn those 2 years? Most people are going to say, fuck yeah. And they're going to do these programs and they'll get something out of them. Even if they only do them for the 2 years, the point is they have to do them.
Yeah.
So they'll get some small thing out of them, and in that way they'll be somewhat effective, right? And then they'll come out of there with a GED. They'll come out of there with alcohol and drug training. They'll come out of there with a trade that they can use.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. That's not how prison programs work. There's no incentive to change. There's no incentive in prison to do anything. The programs are there. They're bullshit because there's no incentive. Think about it. You got a teacher that comes in and goes, man, I got a job working in the prison. I'm going to teach these convicts. I'm going to help guys get their GEDs, or I'm going to help guys, learn to weld. You know, it's going to be good because these guys are going to be able to get out, get a job when they're out, and they won't come back to prison. And then you get into your classroom and you go, hey guys, you know, I'm here to teach you. My name is, you know, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, and, you know, I'm your new teacher, and I'm going to teach you fuckers to weld, right? And the guys in the classroom goes, hey, retard, we ain't here to fucking weld. We're here to stay out of keep law because they forced us into this class. Nobody in here asked for welding. When you go to the program committee, they say, what would you like to do? And you say, I'd like to work in the mess hall. And they say, well, we don't have any mess hall jobs open, so we're going to make you a porter in C block. Come back in 90 days if you want to, and we'll see if we can get you something else. Bingo, you're a porter in C block. Maybe you did want to work in the mess hall. Maybe you did want to learn to weld, but there was no spot for you because they just filled it up with Joe Blow who didn't want it anyway. You see?
I didn't realize how much the program system is fucked up.
It's super fucked up. This counselor has all the power to do everything over your life, sees you for 10 minutes, 4 times a year, and has all the power. Writes in your folder to the parole board, does your parole prep package, does everything.
If you're having a problem, if you want to go to PC, do you go to your counselor?
No, you go to CO.
You go to any CO and say, I want to go to PC?
Yeah, you say, you just go to CO and say, I need PC, and then they call a sergeant, and the sergeant says, why? And you have to give them a name, you have to give up the guy, you have to do a whole bunch of shit.
That's a different episode. We should talk about that sometime.
Yeah, so it's a whole
That's
different
interesting,
thing.
yeah.
You have to give somebody up. Some guys give up guys who haven't did anything to just do them or nothing to do with it, just get out of drug debt, you know?
Wow.
Like, what the fuck, you know? But if a guy goes to a CO and says, listen, man, I'm going to get hurt, and a CO brushes him off and doesn't do anything about it, the guy actually gets hurt, then it's a big lawsuit, you know? So they're pretty careful about that shit, you know?
They can fail you, right, in those drug programs and stuff, and force you to retake it.
Yeah, they do it to a lot of people, sure. They can fail you if you get a dirty urine, if you don't show up. If the counselor shows up and says, all right, today we're going to go around the room and I want everybody to tell me how they're feeling, which they'll do 2, maybe 3 times a month, and you decide you're not going to talk, all right, and you do that 2 or 3 times. Yeah, they can reboot you and start you over. Yeah, sure. But the point we're talking about is that the program's useless, right? So if the only incentive is to get through the program, you know, then it's useless.
Is it like your program on the outside that I witnessed offside when you were zooming on it?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It's like that?
It's just exactly like that.
Okay.
So
it's a crock of shit.
It's a crock of shit.
It was nothing about anger management. It was nothing about helping anyone, right? It was like, let's just get together and reintroduce ourselves to each other. And then the class was over.
And then the guy doing the program will say, okay, let me get a screenshot. Everybody smile. He takes a screenshot because everybody's on there, and that's proof that you were there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and as soon as that's done, all right, everybody have a nice night.
So if you make that effort to show up, yeah.
You have to show up. You're on parole. It's a mandatory program with parole. So I would show up every Wednesday.
Seriously, half the time it wasn't going on, right? It just...
But I still got credit.
Technically didn't work.
He would send the link.
Yeah.
And I would click the link. I got credit.
Yeah.
So I was grateful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such bullshit. So it's like that on the inside, too.
Yes.
God.
Yeah. So imagine this couch has 3 people sitting on it, and then there's 3 people sitting on the lounge here facing each other, and one of those people is facilitating the program. And he says, all right, let's go around the room. How you doing today? The first guy is going to say, mentally I'm all right. Spiritually I'm doing okay today. Physically I'm fine. I get a little headache. That's it. The next guy's going to do his mental, physical, spiritual. The next guy's going to do the mental, physical, spiritual. You've all checked in. You've checked the little box. Thanks for showing up, man. See you tomorrow.
That's crazy.
That's the program. That's all you have to do. That's the participation. That is all you have to do to pass the program. You're going to do that for 6 fucking months.
So what were yours like? Obviously your program, say PTSD, it wasn't mandatory for people, obviously. So
my programs were, guys wanted to be in the programs. I had a waiting list of guys who wanted to join my program because you didn't get any credit from the state for my programs. My programs were self-help programs, group programs that helped each other. So if you were in one of my programs, it's because you wanted to be there and the rest of the group wanted you there. But you get no credit from the state for it, you know, none of that shit. So, I mean, So
why did people want to attend?
because it was a program where you were safe. You could come in and you could talk about what was going on in your head, whatever was going on in your family, whatever you wanted to talk about. It's a safe place to come in and talk about, because I had enforcers. And one of the very first things you're told when you join the group, in front of the group, is that what's said in the group stays in the group. The very first time that you're talking about what goes on in the group with anybody, about anybody in here, is the last time you're welcome in the group, no matter who you are. If it's found out that you're talking outside of the group about the group, that's the last time you'll be in the group. And I had enforcers to make sure of that. Because I had a couple of situations where guys would come in because I wasn't able to, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have, but I wasn't able to single guys out because of their crime or because of who they were if I didn't want them in the group. Because if they joined the Italian American or the JCs as members and signed up for the group, the only power I had was the veto of the group on paper. So if a guy signed up who I just absolutely knew was just going to be a total asshole and not going to work in this group because I knew him, I'd just send the enforcers out. Me and the enforcers would go corner him someplace in the yard and say, listen, you don't want to be in this program. It's not for you. You don't want to be in this group. The group doesn't want you in the program, and it's not for you. So don't come back. And then he had a choice. He could make a decision. Fuck you, I'm coming back, or you can't tell me what to do, or all right, that's cool. I'm cool.
How could they be an asshole, like in the group, besides divulging people's personal information to the outside the group? So what?
Some people are just disruptive. They're talking all the time, talking over people when it's not their turn to talk. Maybe somebody's saying something and they're like poo-pooing and that's bullshit. Those kind of guys are detrimental to the group. I don't care if you're sitting there across from me and telling me that you're a space alien and I know you're from the fucking Bronx. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay in the group to tell me you're a fucking space alien if that's what you're feeling. I don't want somebody sitting in the group saying, man, he ain't no fucking space alien. There is no fucking thing as a space alien. We already know that, dude. We don't need you to point that out. That's not what the group is for. Let him vent. If he thinks he's a fucking space alien, then he's fucking my favorite Martian, okay? That's what it is, right? So you have those guys that are disruptive, just naturally.
But don't you think those guys are just trouble?
They are trouble. Which guys?
It's the disruptive guys.
That's what I'm saying, and that's the guys that you step to after group and say, you're not welcome in this group.
Why don't you think they just need extra help?
No. And then maybe they do, but this isn't the place for that.
Oh.
I'm only allowed a certain amount of people, and I don't have room for people that are going to tear the group down. Prison is so fucking hard.
Would you give them a chance and say that first?
No. No.
Like, look.
I told them when they joined the group what was expected. They were sit down with me and my lieutenants, and they were told, this is what the group is before you've signed up for this and you've asked for this. So if you get in the group and you're good for a week or 2 weeks, and then pretty soon you start doing these things, I'll pull you on the side and say, listen, that was unnecessary or that was reckless. And, it doesn't matter what you think about this guy. That's not why you're here. Your job is not to determine what's to be said to him. I'll do that. That's my job. Your job is to listen and to add to it if you can. But your job isn't to tear him down. And that's the only warning he'll get. And if it happens again, then we just approach him in the yard, take him off the...
Bully him out of it.
Yeah.
With brute force.
You can say bully him out. I mean, the reality is, don't show back up or you're going to get an ass whooping, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
But that's prison. That's the only fucking thing they understand. But without that, you don't have a group.
I guess we should mention how, and I don't even know if I know this about you, how you came from being this thieving heroin addict, always a tough guy, shot caller, to running self-help programs.
Maybe it's a little bit of narcissism, right? Because I enjoy the attention.
So you are a narcissist.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a narcissist, right? But I think we all have a small bit of narcissism. I think every successful person has a bit of narcissism, You have to love yourself to put yourself through it, right? Because it ain't fucking easy, right? So I think everyone has a little narcissism. So maybe that was it. Maybe it's a whooping bird. Yeah, it's a Manhattan whooping bird. It's just a jungle out there. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think that's the case, right? So I mean, there comes a point in your time, we call it aging out. I mean, that's what I've always called it, aging out. I don't know if that's an actual term, but I think I've heard it someplace from psychology or something, that it's aging out. You know, you either age out, like with drug addiction, you either age out or you fucking die, right? It's one or the other. There's nothing in between that, right? So I think it's aging out. I aged out of that lifestyle, and I found that I enjoyed teaching.
How? I mean, what's the first experience with that?
The very first experience with teaching is I started the Lifers Committee in Shawangunk. They had no Lifers Committee in Shawangunk when I was there. And that's a maxi-max, and I was amazed that there was no Lifers Committee. So I wrote to the superintendent, got permission to start the committee, did all the paperwork, filled out all the forms, sent it to Albany. Albany approved it, and I started a Lifers organization. I'd never had any organization before. You know, I mean, I worked with the JCs in Auburn in the 80s. So that kind of gave me, I was secretary of JC's in the Auburn in the 80s. So that kind of gave me an idea, you know, of what to do. So I started a Lifers Committee in the Gunk. And inside of that, you have to have something for people to do. You say, okay, we have a Lifers Committee. And people are like, okay, I paid my dues. What are we doing? You know, it's $1 a month.
Yeah.
What am I doing? What's my dollar for? You know, so you got to have things for people to do. So
yeah.
I realized I need to find out what are lifers interested in. What do they need to do? You know, so one of the first things I did was I started a committee on parole reform. You know, so I got a couple of guys who were interested in parole reform and started a committee with them. And I made, you know, I said, okay, you're in charge of this committee. Appoint your guys. Go do your research. Before you know it, they're doing research on parole hits and parole commissioners, and they're compiling this information. I'm going, that's pretty interesting. You know, it actually works. And so
Nice.
so I would read the material, and then I would get up. The chairman of the committee would get up and talk in front of the blackboard, in front of the membership about what they had done that month. And then you always have to give, the president has to give a state of the committee or a state of the organization at every membership. So I would have to get up and talk about where I was trying to steer the organization, because I had to be elected after the first time. I started it the first time, but every time after that I had to be elected. So I couldn't just sit back and say, yes, this is a cool committee, because somebody else would take my job.
Yeah.
So.
And you liked it.
And I liked it. So I would get up and I would talk to everyone, and I would tell them what direction I was trying to take the committee and what I was trying to do, and the stuff I had learned, and I would break down all the stuff that they had just been told into a way that everybody understood it. And everybody's like, holy fuck, man. Dude, you got a gift for that, you know? I never knew that. I never understood that. And I was like, yeah, maybe I do. And I liked it. I enjoyed the attention, and I enjoyed that I was teaching people things. And one of the biggest things I enjoyed is they would leave the rooms, man, with their suits off.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, their suits would be right back on by the time they got to the blocks, you know? But you would see them talking to each other and laughing and just like normal fucking people, you know, and like, wow, they got their fucking suits off, man, leaving this room. You know, you see them the next day and their suits are back on. How you doing, man? How you doing today, you know?
Shall we?
Let's do it.
Shall we shut the fuck up?
Yeah, we didn't really get into the counselors as much as I wanted to about what they're, you know, how fucking useless they are, but
You're so angry.
I'm not, you know, they're fucking useless, man. They should not
All
have,
of them? Come on, these generalizations are what bother me. It's just these broad generalizations. You sold me on the fucking CO thing, fine. But the counselors too?
Well, who do you think the counselors are?
I think they're social workers.
They're the CO's wives and daughters, all right? So they got the same fucking mindset as their husbands and their fathers and their mothers. Corrections is a family business. So corrections counselors are ex-COs, CO's daughters, CO's wives. The fucking fruit don't fall far from the tree. So what fucking good are they? They're useless.
Damn.
Family business, man.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Just don't drop out.
How about a status update? I don't know how dark we want to go with this, but you had a really bad time last week.
0 sleep, 5 nights, no bullshit. 0. Adrenaline drop. Could not turn it off. Don't know what started it. Don't know what triggered it. It was just just, God, I can't, it's like, you ever seen those old time movies and they've got these slide machines and they got that round carousel on top of the slides and the slide comes up and the carousel changes and the slide comes up and the carousel changes? That was my fucking mind for 5 days. Picture would flash, carousel would roll, picture would flash, carousel would roll. And that just went on for 5 days. And sometimes it was really scary shit. And then when it was scary shit, I'd get the adrenaline drop. The fight or fuck would kick in, right? Well, there's nothing to fight. You can't fight yourself. You can't fuck yourself, right? I mean, you can. I mean, certain things you can do, you're fucked, right? But you know what I mean. So what do? And there's no one there to help you. You've already burnt every fucking bridge. You've already burnt all your friends out, just trying to talk about it. People are like, this motherfucker again? They don't say that, but you can see it in their face and you can see it in their reactions and you can see it in the way that they start brushing you off and they don't answer your phone calls. And whether that's the case or not, right? In my mind, that's the case, man. That's the world I'm living in, And like I said this to you the other day, and I said, you're not living my fucking life. And you said,
I don't remember.
You said, I'm not?
What? I'm sure I said I'm not.
No.
Oh, you mean
Sorry.
going through it with you? I thought you meant going through it with you.
Well, and that's how you answered.
Yeah.
Which is not what I meant, but that's how you answered. I'm not?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's
No,
fine.
I mean, that's a
it's
shitty
miscommunication.
response. Yeah.
It's miscommunication. It's nothing to be sorry
I
for.
certainly don't ever for 1 second claim to be living your life or even scratching the surface of part of it. So.
Well, you should,
I
because
didn't mean that.
no one has helped me in this world any more than you have. That's the facts. No one has lifted me up out of the fucking sewer but you. So you've lived this life with me. But what I mean is, in the moment, right? You could be doing laundry, right? I could be fucking doing demons, man. So in that moment, you're not living this life. And that's what I meant when I said that. So your response was, I'm not? Was, no, P. Absolutely you're not. Because I can't get off this fucking carousel. And that's what it was all week, I don't know what triggered it. I don't know what turned it off, truthfully. I don't know.
Sleep?
I guess, yeah, but I mean...
At a leave PM, maybe? Did it work?
It worked.
What does it feel like to not sleep for 5 days?
It's dehumanizing, right? Yeah.
How the fuck does a human being still walk after 5 days and nights of not sleeping?
I wasn't walking. I was a danger to myself and other people. I drove and stopped at green lights. My brain was not working. It was not working at all. I put on the turn signal to turn right, made a left-hand turn in front of a lady. Thank God she slammed on the brakes. I almost got T-boned. I finally, that afternoon, I took the car home and parked the fucking thing. Put the keys in the room. I said, I can't drive. I was not functioning, and I don't know what triggered it. Maybe I'll find out next week, what that stuff is. I don't know. I want to call it PTSD, right? That's what I want to call it. But I taught PTSD classes inside for years through the veterans, and I've never encountered anyone telling me that they had that problem in all of those years. So I'm not sure it's PTSD at all. I'm not sure what it is.
Sign off?
Sign off.
Shall we
So-
do a sign off?
Yeah,
A
so
sayonara sign off?
I don't know if we should do the sayonara. How many followers do we have in Japan?
2.
Oh, then we definitely have to do the sayonara for both of them.
We've got Mo
Yeah.
and Kaz.
All right, Mo and Cass.
They're both really good
Sayonara.
guys.
Sayonara
Listen
to you too.
Hi, Mo. All right, so here we are. I'm recording.
Okay, what would you like to do tonight or today? We probably shouldn't say tonight or today, because we don't know what time it's going to air, and we want people to feel like it's happening right now. If we say and tonight, meanwhile it's daytime.
But then everyone's going to think I'm a day drinker.
All right, so let's get out of here.
All right, so thank you for listening. See you next week.
Sayonara, suckers.
No.
No?
Sayonara, senoras and
Senores.
senors.
Senorettes? Senoriters? No?
Senor what?
Senor...
Senora.
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 Seniors, yeah. I said senior eaters.